Hello there. My name is Thomas Perslak, and if you don't know me, I was a senior auditor for the Multi-Entity Domestic Corporations Unit at the Department of Revenue. I've also served as a contract specialist as well for the state, interfacing with the union. Before that, I was an internal control auditor for the financial services industry, where I first learned, after having graduated from Southern Oregon University with a degree in business administration with an emphasis on public accounting, I learned to really love systems analysis and systems theory, and studied that independently for a great long while. So I'm making this video. It's the first one because my journey, my story is very long and very complex. And whenever I attempt to speak with legal counsel, it can be a little confounding. So I'm just taking this directly to the public. Now, allow me to begin with a little caveat. I'm a civil servant. So this isn't about being political, right? In fact, I brought this up to the correct internal people, back last year, well away from any midterm elections or primary elections or anything. And it was their choice not to address it substantively for the people of Oregon, not mine. And now I'm at a point where they have whittled me down to financial ruin, delaying things, making things drag out. They didn't move nearly as quickly when I was when I had declared myself a whistleblower, and they let me sort of linger there. I've had my PTO, my paid leave Oregon, denied, even though I have a qualifying chronic pain condition called trigeminal neuralgia, which is the atypical type, which hurts kind of consistently all the time with the spikes. In case you doubt my resolve there, I still have scars from having screws drawn into my skull so that they could treat it with gamma knife therapy. So no, that's a real deal. I've had to go through that whole process where people doubt your pain that many chronic pain sufferers have endured. I'm with you guys. If you're a chronic pain sufferer, I'm with you guys. Anyway, I digress. This is going to just be a series of videos that I'm going to release in short form, and each one will kind of walk how I went from getting hired to work at the Department of Revenue to then eventually being the statewide treasurer of Oregon's largest public union, and then having to resign from that public union because they denied me the financials necessary to do my job, and then expected me to read a budget into the record, which that's a huge no-no to anyone with any ethics as an accountant serving as a financial steward of a multi-million-dollar labor organization that takes dues from people who sometimes can't afford groceries and then possibly misuses them. That's not a thing you're allowed to do in my book. I'm a very honorable man. I'm a very ethical man. I was born and raised in Oregon among good, honorable, and ethical people. Came up in kind of a rougher area, at least less developed at the time. It was down in Southern Oregon in the 80s and 90s. You guys that are original people here that are my age will understand how Oregon was back then. And so, this state's been my home my entire life. I'm coming up on my 46th birthday, May 4th. I've lived here my entire life. I worked here and just wanted to serve the people of Oregon, to bring justice where I can, and to ensure that no one's getting stolen from, really. So anyway, I'm going to try to keep all of these videos roughly 5 minutes. Some of them might go longer. And this is just mainly the intro video. So I'm not going too deep into the story. The next video, we're going to talk about me joining the Department of Revenue and already at the Medford field office encountering unprofessionalism and horror. Mind you, not from any of the workers, not from any of the honest to God agents just trying to do their jobs. Everything comes from management. It is shocking. It is shocking how incompetent management is within the Oregon Department of Revenue, as well as leadership. It is absolutely shocking. Many of them live in bubbles. So and if you try to complain, you get retaliated against. If you break their bubble, you get retaliated against. This is basically what the department has been like, and this is basically how everyone's been shielded from any kind of culpability in this behavior by the Kotek administration. And sadly, there's a lot of horrible stuff that could be happening. You see, as a systems analyst, I point out that all the architecture exists for people to do horrible things and not be held accountable for them. And that there are actual systems that you can implement in the form of internal control environments that prevent this. I have to then say, here's what can be happening. Here's the evidence I've seen, right? And so that's an important distinction to make. I'm not saying that any of this is happening. I'm just saying that all the architecture exists for it to be happening and no one being able to detect it. And it shouldn't exist, by the way. It's illegal to maintain these conditions, especially as a labor organization. And it's also not very copacetic to try to destroy testimony by reframing it as some sort of odd conspiracy theory, which is kind of what was getting from Brittany Green at the Department of Revenue, who was the head of HR. So, but we'll get to that. Anyway, thank you for listening to this introduction video. Essentially, we have a legal defense fund because I have to go after the Department of Revenue for their poor behavior, not only towards me, but hopefully this will arrest their behavior towards all the other workers. I personally witnessed, a veteran who was harassed to the point of triggering his PTSD so that they could then fire him, things like that. And yeah, it's a horrifying environment internally, allowed to persist by Tina Kotek. So, and I say that now because I gave them all the evidence they need to do something about it, and they are choosing the side of eliminating me and covering everything up. It's a terrible thing to have to lose faith in the institutions when you've worked so hard within them to try to build faith among your fellow Oregonians as an honorable actor, as a civil servant. I worked for the Department of Commerce a while back during the Obama administration, where I swore an oath. See, I'm not a military man, although I have many military men in my family, and my grandfather fought honorably for us against the Nazis. So, working there when they issued an oath to the Constitution, I realized, well, I'm not a military man, but I know the fervor in their hearts that they had when they swore their oaths. So I will honor my ancestors and my peers who were soldiers in my civil service to them and to other Americans around me. So I took that oath very seriously. Very seriously. In fact, I have a video reminding soldiers to make sure to honor their oath to the Constitution as they may be deployed among the American population, because posse comitatus is kind of like not a thing with the National Defense Authorization Act, as much as we would hope it would be. So, all right. Well, I guess, 9 minutes and 30 seconds is pretty long for an intro video. If you're still with me, thank you for watching. I hope you get a good sense of my character and that I truly am not trying to make this a political thing, but I did everything I could within the system, and I've run into too much pushback. And so now I have to do this among my fellow Oregon citizens. I have to reach out to you guys and hopefully get the help we need, because they are slow walking everything, and I've done everything I can to try to maintain my finances because I am a father of 3, 2 of which are still living with me. And, you know, they're teenagers. They eat a lot and they've got a lot of expensive needs. All of us understand that. And so, in addition to that, my wife is also in a kind of a situation with some family members that we're going to need support there too, because she has to take up some legal matters because of some monstrosities done to her in her youth. So we're kind of hit from 2 sides here, doing 2 things at once. But that's her story to tell, of course, should she decide to. But she did tell me I could at least mention it as well. So thank you for your time. I'm going to try to get on to the next video. Thank you kindly.